Hello everyone, Jolene here from Bookworm Adventure Girl. Welcome back to another Tag Tuesday. Today I am doing the Contradictions Book Tag. The original tag was created by Daniela at Only If for a Page, and I was tagged by two amazing booktubers, Berna from Berna's Bookish Adventures and Olive at abookolive. I will leave links to all three of these channels and their tag videos in the description box below, so you can definitely go check those out. So these prompts are all about contradictions when it comes to reading and books, so let's get started. The first prompt is, I love this genre, but I didn't like this book. So I love historical fiction, but I did not like A Train in Winter, an extraordinary story of women, friendship, and survival in World War II. This was by Caroline Moorehead. This book sounded like it would be so good. It had a lot of things that I really love in books: strong female characters, female friendships, overcoming obstacles, in times of war. But this book was so bland for me. My book club read this book and all of us struggled with it and were, disappointed that it didn't live up to the expectations that we had. The second prompt is, I rarely read this genre, but I loved this book. So I rarely read sci-fi. It is not a genre that I gravitate to. I will dabble in it every once in a while, mostly without realizing it. But a book that I really enjoyed was An Ocean of Minutes by Thea. And I found this book very compelling, maybe because it takes place during a pandemic and I read it during our current pandemic. This story is about Frank and Polly, and I immediately liked them and their relationship. And when Frank becomes ill with the virus, Polly takes a risk to sign a contract to take a trip into the future with this company that has invented time travel. So by signing this contract, the company agrees to pay for the treatment that Frank really needs. So Frank and Polly can then be reunited. The plan is in 12 years when their times kind of realign. So things do not go smoothly. Polly ends up in a world that she was not expecting. The creation of this world I thought was so well done, and the ending of this book is heartbreaking. So for a non-sci-fi lover, this one was a really good one. Next is, I love this trope, but I didn't like this book. I don't know that I would say I love this trope, but it is one that appeals to me at least a little bit. Dark Tide by Andrew Gross. It's a thriller with a couple of tropes that I would, at least consider reading, leading a double life kind of, or faking one's death. However, this book didn't pull it off well. There were twists and turns, but I could see them all coming, and the writing was not great. And if it hadn't been for the fact that I had downloaded this book for free on my Kindle while I was traveling and I had limited books to read, I probably wouldn't have finished it. That's my guess. Number 4, I hate this trope, but I loved this book. So hate is a little strong, but a trope that, kind of gets under my skin, or can get under my skin, is innocent cohabitation. I'm like, come on. Yeah, but a more recent book that I read that had this trope in spades was The Flatshare by Beth. And I started this book kind of with that dread, and I did say at the beginning, I said often, come on. But Tiffy and Leon end up sharing the same flat, and they even share the same bed, but they are never in the flat at the same time. So, oh my goodness, what's going to happen? So not only do I not care for the trope, but this book sets it up, so obviously. However, I ended up giving it 4 stars because it did eventually have some substance to it. And, there are some funny lines, and I did like the characters. So it's a book that I don't regret reading. Number 5 is, I love this author, but I didn't like this book. And for this one, it was interesting. When I was trying to decide, I had, several kind of books that I didn't like in mind, but they weren't usually an author that I would also say that I loved. So that narrowed it down considerably. So I ended up choosing Chris Bodelian, who I really enjoy. I loved Midwives, and I have several of his books to still read. But one that I didn't hate, but I didn't love was this novel, Water Witches. It had great potential. Vermont is experiencing a drought, and there are dowsers, or what some people call water witches, that are asked to help find water. And the premise is interesting to me, but it fell a bit flat in its execution. Number 6 I previously disliked a book by this author, but I loved this book. So for this one, I'm going to go with Chris Hadfield, who some of you know. I love Chris Hadfield. He is a Canadian astronaut, like one of the most accomplished astronauts in the world. And more importantly, he's just a really nice, pleasant guy who has done a lot, especially for like young people and the space program. And I really like him. So his book, The Apollo Murders, it was one of my most anticipated books of 2021. And I was so disappointed with it. I mean, it takes place in space, and who better to write this book, about space than Chris Hadfield? I thought that's perfect. But the book was a letdown for me. I found it to be just too sciencey and not enough connection to the characters and what was going on. However, I loved An Astronaut's Guide to Life on Earth, which is a memoir or autobiography about Chris Hadfield's experiences in space and how he got there and what he has learned from those experiences. So I just ate all of that up, and he talks about all of it, like it's in such interesting ways, and it's intriguing. And what I loved about this book is what was lacking, I think, for me in the other one. So all of that to say that if and when Chris Hadfield puts out another book, I will be there for it. I'm happy to read it and happy to purchase it. Okay, so number 7, I love this cover, but I didn't like this book. Okay, so get ready for an unpopular opinion on this. This book, I haven't even finished it yet, and I have now started it twice. The first time I got about 3/4 of the way through, and I thought, why am I not liking this book? I must be missing something. And I thought, okay, well, maybe it's the wrong time, because, that happens sometimes. So I was willing to give myself a bit of time. So I set it aside, and then I picked it up again. And now I'm just hoping to finish it this month, just to get it over with. And that is The House in the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune. I adore this cover. It is so fun and whimsical. I love the colors. I love everything about it. And I was just so excited to finally get this book. And, I've heard everyone rave about how great this book is. And, well, my favorite thing about it is the cover. So well done on the cover design, whoever did that. The final one is, I don't like this cover, but I loved this book. And for me, this is hands down The Perks of Being a Wallflower. And this is by Stephen Chbosky. I adored this book. I adored Charlie, the main character. I loved how this coming of age story was told. I loved this book. But the cover, not so much, You see how the creativity of this one, and it's eye-catching, and it draws you in. And then, how much creativity does it take to have one color on the book? And then a color that could be a little annoying for some people, and even a little pukey, that pukey yellow greeny. And I guess you could say it does catch your eye, but that's because you are almost blinded by the crazy color. And then there's this tiny, picture put on the corner like a postage stamp out of an afterthought. So I have always thought that this was a strange cover. But don't judge a book by its cover, because what's on the inside of this little awesome book is so worth it. So that is all for the Contradictions Book Tag. This tag has been around for a while now, but I am going to tag a few people that I don't think I've ever tagged before, and who I don't think have done this tag. So I am going to tag Marilyn Mea Mendoza. Marilyn commented on one of my last tags, and I don't think that she's done this one. So, and she's such a delight. I will also tag Allie Sears. Allie is a new channel for me, and I am still getting to know her, but I've enjoyed a few of her videos now, so I will tag Allie. And finally, I'm going to tag Michael from Michael Romeo Talks Books. Michael's channel is also newer. I think that he'll be at 100 subscribers before long, as he's got a good channel going. So if you don't already know these 3 channels, please be sure to go check these booktubers out. They're worth checking out, and I will leave links to their channels below. So thanks again to Daniela for creating this tag, and to Berna and Olive for tagging me. I always feel, a little bit special that someone, has thought of me, and when they were, tagging people. So it's very much appreciated, and I appreciate all of you. So thanks again to everyone for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and don't forget to make every day an adventure.